There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Feel like I am pointing down over here. There we go. All right. I moved around my cameras today so that you guys could see more when we go down after we get started here, and you guys can see more of what I'm doing rather than my body. So we're trying out something new here. Hi, Gladys. I need to invite somebody really quick because she wanted me to do that, and I just got to figure out. Thank you, Vicky, for the heart me. Hi, Danelle. Can somebody share out if somebody is friends with on TikTok? If you're friends with Beads, can you guys share that with her? Hey, thank you, Danelle, for the heart me. So, welcome in, everybody. My name is Carol. I am the owner and creator of everything at CarolJo's, which I always say is where community and creativity for jewelry making come together. Here I do on my lives a lot of different things. Twice a week, we have chats, and that's a time where you guys can come in and we as a community share tips and tricks about making jewelry, running our small businesses, and keeping it focused on that. Twice a week, we do tutorials where I try to show you step by step the how to make different jewelry and accessory items. And then throughout the week, I have live events, and that's where you can claim items that we have shown in the tutorials, or we have extras so that you can create your own items. Tonight is a little bit of a different special night. Yes, we are going to be doing a tutorial, but it is based around Zuli Bea Boutique. She has gotten together 5 different individuals to do creative tutorials. She has a different word for it, but I cannot remember. Hi, Murda. Hi, Nordic Luna. Hi, Meg. And she's got this so that Monday through Friday this week on TikTok, there are 5 of us to teach you guys different things to make. Hey, Robin. So tonight is my night. We can do it any time during the day. So some of them will be during the day, some will be at night. Hey, Jen Jaggery, how are you? And so tonight is mine. I chose 8 Central because that's the time I usually go live. So I'm just grateful that it works out for everybody that is involved to be able to do it around our schedules, but also to teach you guys different things. Tonight we are going to learn how to make a leather button choker necklace. So here is the one that I have. My neck doesn't do this justice, and I'll show you why. I'll bring it down here and you guys will see why. Chokers don't work on these necks. I have to probably pull it back a little bit before it'll make sense to be a choker. There we go. So we have the button here, and you can use any type of button, but I have these leather buttons, and I'm like, we're going to make something with it. And then we add in a charm so that we can add a little bit more detail to it. And it is going to be in the closure in the front, and it'll be just a really simple, but have to think about measurements. Zuli had measurements last night. We're going to have measurements tonight. Sorry, guys, we're giving you math. But that's what we're going to teach you tonight is this. So what you're going to need is some sort of cord that will go through the button you selected. Tonight, I am going to be using a 1mm. This one is a nylon cord. You can use a leather cord. You can use the faux suede that like Zuli. I know math is hard, Danelle. And I'm hoping when I explain this all to you that it makes sense, okay? If something doesn't make sense, I want you guys to put it in the chat. Hi, Sissy. Thank you for the heart me for whoever sent that. I'm not keeping up with all of the gifts and such, so I really want you guys to know I really do appreciate it. But I'm going to use a 1mm. You can use whatever type of cord you have handy. Faux suede, leather. This is a nylon cord. whatever works for you. You will also need some sort of wire. The wire that you're using can be a 26 gauge wire, a 20 gauge, whatever you have. Here I am using the artistic wire. This is what I'm going to be using. It is a 20 gauge wire, and this one is the silver one. I'm not using like sterling silver or that. Hi, Cece. I'm just using a craft wire. And then you're going to need, and I'm going to show you here, this is the button collection I was telling y'all about that made the start of what are we doing for this. These are all leather buttons. And what I meant by your size of what you're going to use depends on the shank of the button. So we have, this one is a larger one. So is like this one. So if you have a larger shank, you would be able to use that faux suede that we've had before. Thank you, Gentegrity. So that is what we've got, or you could use some smaller ones. That hole isn't as big. So depending on the size, what you want to, thank you, PS members. I appreciate your subscription. What you want to do is you got to make sure that double of whatever you're going to be using will fit through the hole before you begin. So what I suggest is just fold this over like this before you use it and find a button in your collection that you're like, yep, that will work. Like here, this one went through. I could use that one. We have this one here. And I could do this one because he goes through there. All we're trying to do is make sure that double of that goes through it. If you have a larger one like these, I am on 2 devices tonight, so I'm not going to do shout outs, okay? Hey, Ash, can you go over? So that one's a larger one. So I could do like a 1.5 or a 2 millimeter. If it doubles over and goes through that, you can use that. So I have a 2 here on the table. And if that goes through, which this will, I just need to pull it. It will go through. So this one I could use on this size. I could use on what you will be using to determine the size of your cord by what kind of button you have. Hi, Maria. Does that make sense, everybody? Thank you for that heart me. The reason why I was asking Ash to go over is that I actually go live on 2 different social medias when I go live, so that you guys will be able to watch a replay on the tube. So whatever we're doing here will be over on the tube if you want to watch a replay. So that's why I was asking for Ashley to help me out there. All right, so I'm going to select a button. Most of these buttons are brown. Some of them are black. I have actually a red one in here. We had some that were in a baggie. I don't know why they were in a baggie. Hey, Lulu. I'm going to take them out and put them in there. So there is this one. And you can tell these are vintage buttons. I got to pick one. This is hard, everybody, picking just one. How about that one? We're going to go with this one. All right. Anything that you would be able to, that has a shank on it so that you would be able to do that. I'll show you why I say that. Right here to get that into, because it's going to go through this hole there. Does that make sense? All right. So then the other things you're going to need besides that is that we're going to put a charm on there. So we're going to have to pick out a charm. And I have a container here of charms that we're going to pick from in a little bit. and you're going to need a jump ring. The jump ring size is going to change based upon what you have selected for your size of the cord. So if you're getting a 1 millimeter size cord, you're going to probably need a 4 to 4.5 millimeter size jump ring. If you went with a 2 millimeter, you're probably going to need a 6 or maybe a 7 millimeter size jump ring. So you just have to correlate your jump ring with at least double of what your cord that you went with, and then add on a millimeter, 2 millimeters to be able to go around the wire. All right. So that, I can't tell you what size it's going to be because it's going to be different based upon your cord. That's the big unknown in the whole equation. Okay, Gladys, we'll see you back here in a minute. Is your cord, but it's also based upon the shank of your button, of how big that hole is. And the one thing I learned when I was going through them, some have small, some have big, so they're all different. All right, what else you are going to need to complete this project? You're going to need a pair of scissors or cutters of some sort to cut your cord. You are going to need a pair of flush cutters to cut the wire. I have and then we have 2 flat nose chain nose pliers. And you know, after seeing the pliers that Zuli had last night that she called the duck bill pliers, I'm like, I need some of those. Can you believe 20 years of creating jewelry and I've never had them? And they would work for tonight's project too. I am using here, Joya, duck bill. Okay. These, the leather buttons is what we're using tonight, Joya. Well, I will let you all know, I did put in a request for those, but it'll be a few weeks before they're here. I did put the request in last night, just so you know. So, and when we did our what you need for this, I am changing up the directions a little bit. So I'm going with a round nose plier. I don't think that was in the original ones list, but I added that because I figured out a way that it's a lot easier to make this. All right, welcome back in, Gladys. So I am using round nose. I also am going to use a measure. I have this handy dandy measure, inches on one side, millimeters on the back side. This thing is a total, when it's unfolded, of a meter. And I dropped it. Sorry, it's a whole meter. So when you look at this, this is one thing everybody asks. If you get a meter, what is it in inches? It's going to be backwards because I didn't mirror. Your 36 is your inches for a yard. You have an extra this much for a meter. So just to let you know. So we're going to need that. You don't have to have the exact same thing. You just need to be able to measure, okay? Also, what I need is E6000 glue. All right? I think that was everything that we're going to use. I do have in here, I'm going to give you a tip while we're in here. And so I have in this little bowl some water. And I'll show you what we use that water for. It's really not a tool or anything, but I'll show you how I use it. Brain does not compute. All right. Now, for the actual doing the tutorial portion, you guys are going to be pointed down. That means over here on YouTube, I will not be able to see your comments at all. And hold on, I'm going to put this in here. There we go. All right, I had to put the charger on one of the phones here. So I'm going to point you down, and then I won't be able to see YouTube. TikTok, I will be able to see comments if I look at my backup account, but I don't always do that. So if you guys have questions and I don't answer them while we're doing it, when we come back up, please ask again, because I'm not trying to ignore you. I just can't see them when we're pointed down. All right. Here we go. I'm going to move y'all down. All right. First thing that we're going to do is get my, there we go. All right, we're going to measure out 1 meter. And I know this sounds really weird why I say 1 meter. And it's because when I have these items up for claim, whatever it might be, the cord, the faux suede, the leather, they'll always be in 1 meter size. So I want to show you, if you would get this from me, how you do it. Now, I am just pulling on this a little bit to get some of those, because see how that circle's there? I want to get those out as much as possible. So we're going to pull on that. We're going to put it in half. Now, we're making this choker size, everybody. So that's why we got to think about this. A choker is normally anywhere from 14 to 16 inches, depending on the neck size. This necklace isn't one that you're going to be able to add on an extender to extend it. So it's really going to be made into the size it is and that type of thing. So for me personally, I would do a 16-inch. My neck is round, it is thick. So I'm going to do this for a 16-inch. Thank you for the gifts. Now I want to take my button. Every button is a different size. So this is where some of our math comes in, and you have to do it based upon what you selected. So I'm going to flip this back over to the inch side. Our button is 3/4 of an inch. So I want to be about an inch in from where I doubled it over. I'm going to take my button and where an inch is at. Let me just put my finger there. Yep. And I'm going to take this through and make sure that this is going to go through with where my fingers are at. And that works. So I know I have an inch. If I went less than an inch, then it's not going to work because it's going to be too narrow for this to get through, and you're going to constantly shove it through and distort it. All right. We're going to take our wire. We're going to do about 3 inches or so of the wire and cut it off. I'm going to use my round nose plier. Just put it in there about 3/4 of an inch down or so. Go in a little bit to wherever you would have double of your cord size, because we want to put this around the cord. And we're going to push it 90 degrees away from us. So if you look at that, that's 90 degrees away. Reposition your tool so that is 45 degrees in there. Bring this around towards you. Then you see how this is on the bottom? I'm going to move it to the top. I'm going to open that up and swivel that to the top. And I've created a little loop. Open up your loop. Find our inch again, because we sat this down to do this. Right there. Put this in at the loop, at where that inch is at. Grab one of your pliers. Bring this loop back together, and I keep moving it. So hold on, I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. So we're going to put it down. There we go, right there. I want my cord to go in that loop, and then we're going to shut that up. The reason why we're doing this is that we want to wrap our wire around. There we go. Finally got it. Whew, that was a little tough for me there for a second. We want to wrap our wire around this cord for like 4 or 5 loops. And I am not a good wire wrapper, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Those of you that are wire wrappers probably have a better technique than I do. But we're just going to bring this wire right around, stacking it next to it on the other one. Holding that and just wrap it around. Now you guys understand why I need 3 inches is because it keeps wrapping around my tool. It's like this. We're just making those links right around there. Okay, thank you, Nordic Luna, because, you know, I am not big on doing this. And I'm going to squish these all together. So you see how I have a little bit of a gap there? I don't want that big of a gap, so I'm going to squish it together. I'm going to push this down so that because guess what? This is what's going to hold our piece together where we're going to do, I'm going to show you on here. Here is our loop. That wire is wrapped around right here to hold this loop into its place. So that's why I just take my pliers, and this is where I was thinking those duck bill pliers would work great because we could just smush it. Then we take our flush cutters and we're going to cut off the excess wire. We're going to test and feel. Do we feel any sharp edges? Nope. Oh, I felt one there, so I'm going to push this down right here. Okay, now we're good. All right. Now from this end to our, where we're going to put our button on, needs to be 16 inches. So here is my ruler. I'm going to put this down at the 1. We're going to go to the 16. I might have to measure again because I got to put my strings in here. I'm going to put these 2 strings in there. Go to 16, which is right there. Go ahead and create. Hold it with your left hand when you're creating your knot, because you don't want it to move to lose your length of where this is at. Now I'm going to put that down. We're going to measure this before I do it tight to make sure that we're in the right length. Oh, he moved down a little bit, so we need to go down this way. And you'll feel it while you're doing this, how to move it around. There we go. We're at 16. Now, grab your pliers and in one hand, pull really tight. I don't know how else to say this than to pull really, really tight with your cord to get that knot to be tight in there. I do not have in my age strength left in my hand, so I use a lot of my tools to make everything tight. All right, now this is where at this point, hi Geraldine, I just put a dab of E6000 right there on that cord. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's just a dab. It is to keep our knot in place. I'm going to tie a second knot. Grab the pliers again and pull this tight. There we go. The wood thing, I don't have enough room on here to do that, so that's why I'm using the pliers. I just saw that comment from Joya. There is a knot gripper, it's called, that you can use, but it isn't, I don't have it long enough. I'm going to put another little dab of glue on this knot. I'm not using very much glue. I just want to give it a little bit. And I'm just going to spread it around and get rid of the excess glue. Now we're going to take our scissors. We're going to cut off this extra bit of the cord. So out of that 36 or 39.4, we have a little bit over 3 inches we're not using because we doubled it over. Now we're going to put this together. There we go. There we are. So that's how this looks right now. Now, the reason for the water, do you see how that's all kinky because it was around our little spool? This is where the water comes into play. We take our water. I did not. I probably won't do the giveaways until very end, okay? Just dab your fingers. Not on my bead mat. Just a little bit. And you get this a little wet. And then while it's wet, you just do this together. And do you see how the kinks came out? It's not hardly wet at all. You can do that on the leather cord. You can do it on the nylon cord. Don't soak it wet. Just put a little bit on your fingers and get it in there so that you can shape it. Does that make sense? And then, if you didn't want to have on there any of the charms, you don't have to, but I think the charm, hand steam. I love that, Jose. So you don't have to, but I am going to. All right. I am going to use, I believe it's this size that I need. Nope, that one's too large. Let's go the next size down. This size, let me see, I will measure it so we know exactly what I'm using. A 5mm size cord, or jump ring. Oh my Lord, where did cord come from? We have a 5mm jump ring, and then I'm going to get some sort of a charm out of my container here. I don't really want to go with a long one or a big one, but I need to find something that I'm just like, yep, that's the one I want. Oh, we have some birds. This one's a hummingbird, I believe. We'll do that one. Okay. You're going to, with one of the chain nose pliers on one side, there is an opening in a jump ring. You find that. And on the other side, you put your pliers, you do one towards you and one away from you, and you open it up so it looks like that. You will put it on the cord. I put it over the metal part along with our charm. This charm is a one-sided charm. The back, so there's a back and a front. You want to make sure that you're putting the front to the front. Whoops, he came off of where I want him to be. So let's get you back over here. There we go. I do not have my glasses on, everybody, so I might have to put those on really quick. And you're going to rub it back and forth until you get it closed. And then there we go. Let me make sure this is on the right way. Ah, I did it for the right way on the first try. Maybe not. Now let me see. No, I did. I did. Woohoo! There it is. I'm going to bring up the camera so you can see it on the neck. No, I didn't. Oh, I'm looking at it. I did not put it on the right way. Hold on. Are you on an iPhone or a Droid, Joya? Let me open this up again and then flip it around. I was so excited, I thought I had it right. There we go. He is flying around. Yep, there was one. I looked yesterday and I didn't have one yesterday, but my iPad did. Let me get this. Yeet. Nope, I had it right to begin with. You guys can just laugh at me. I'm putting my glasses on. Oh no. My glasses are gone. Oh no, there they are. Whew. I was like, where would I have put them? This is the only place I use them at. Oh, okay. We'll blame it on that this is the one spot I can't see. Getting this backwards. I am trying to find the opening and I can't find it now. There it is. I feel it. All right. There we go. All right, we're going to put it on here, and I am, well, I have the glasses on finally, but it's so funny because even with glasses and the way my LASIK was done, sometimes some things are interesting. Okay, here we go. So remember, my neck is not choker. So if this was going to be choker, it will be like this. And this is where you get to decide, do you want the bird in the middle? Or do you want the button in the middle? Or do you want it kind of off center? So that is how that goes together and how you create a choker. Very simple. And I know there is a lot of math in there, but the math can't be worked out until we know what size cord you are using. And that's the hard part about this one here. So I'm going to show you guys up close what that looks like. That's where I did my loop at. So it gets crossed over with another wire because of the way the loop is. But that is what you get. It is unique. It is something, you guys, I wanted to create for this something with the button, but I thought the button was too plain. That's my personal opinion. How you can change it up to be anything for you. I want to give you guys, this is what I always say. I want to give you everyone the ability to learn the technique, and then you can create it however you want to create it. So let's say, for example, you don't like the charm on there. You like the button. You can just, to keep everything even, don't put the charm on that, but put the wire on this side, but do the wire on this side. So it's all even. You know, so you don't have wire on one side and everybody's like, why is there wire on one side but not the other? So if you want to do that and make the button the focal point. If you wanted to make a larger charm or a pendant on there to create that as your focal and this be the side to it, do that. Whatever it is that you like, go for it and do it. That's what I will tell you. My biggest thing that I want to have as a takeaway is that this one doesn't have a way to extend it. So whatever size you make it, that's where it's going to be. So for me, this style of necklace will sit right here at a 16-inch. If somebody has a thinner neck than me, it's going to be down here for the size that I gave you when I said 16 inches. If you're someone that has a smaller neck than me, then go with a 14 or a 15-inch. You could put a closure button like this in the back and do a swing around if you had your hair up, and then that would be something that you could do. That is a great idea, Joya. And you can do that. You just have to put it on a cord, and the button could be in the back. You could do what we were talking about with having the wire here and here for the back. And then you could have some sort of a pendant or whatever you wanted here. And you can make that on a longer necklace, not just a choker necklace. You could do it like on an 18 with a large pendant and then have that in the back. Yep. Yep. What I wanted to show is how you can use different materials to be able to do something. You know, I have not ever done something with the buttons before. And I had this entire container here of the leather buttons. So all of these leather buttons in here. So so those of you that are new, because you might not know the story behind some of this, is that if you have ever watched if you've ever read in the comic section of the newspaper, the cartoon Hagar the Horrible, the individual that took over writing that cartoon from his father created it, and he took it over, and he ended up moving very close to where I live. I live in South Dakota, and he moved to Sioux Falls, which is the largest city in South Dakota. His wife was an avid beader. Her bead collection was phenomenal. And she passed away before him. He did not get rid of her bead collection. When he passed away, his estate went up for sale. And I went in and purchased a majority of her beads and findings and everything. And when I say a majority, they had the estate sale, and then I went in after it had closed and purchased what was remaining. So that is how we have what we call the Hagar estate. Whenever you guys are in my lives and people ask about Hagar or that type of thing, I'm okay with giving away my age. I'm just a number. They all came from her. Of all things, her first name was Carol, which is mine. I thought it was really interesting that we both had the same first name. And that's how we got that. So this is from that estate sale, and she was lovely. She was after my heart. She labeled everything, not completely everything, but like she will have all of her agates in one container, and all of, like, here we have the leather buttons. She did a lot of that. So she's like me, where if you guys look behind me, all of my trays have labels on them. So must be something with the name. But so that's what we have here. And so on Friday nights, we call it a debut bead event. That's where you can claim items. These will be up for claim on Friday. I will put them in a bag and have so many in a bag that you guys can claim. I won't say what those are, but I look through it and I don't have a whole lot. I have some still, but not a whole lot of what Joya has. A certain kind of bead that she really likes. Last night we had some, when we did, was it last night? Yes, last night we had some vintage resin. There are all types of things. So we're here to share all of these with you guys. And so these will be up for grabs if you guys want to use those. But what I want you to understand is that when I create and teach, it is about, I'm laughing at Patty's comment to make sure you are fast internet like Maria. Last night was I didn't have high quantities of some of the things, and they were just like bing, bing, bing. Everything was empty. We have to watch our words that we use here. So when it is all Gone, we have to say it's empty. Those leather feathers were totally gorgeous. And when I mean vintage resin, it's the lucite that is from like the 50s to the 70s. She has some very, very cool things. We bring them into there here and there, and a couple every time. So it's just how, because I do have to get them prepped and ready. So it does take a little bit longer for getting those ready. So we don't have a high amount each time. Yep. Yep. And that's another thing that happens with Ashley over here is saying that was awesome. Awesome. And she knew what they were. Um, so it's the one thing with TikTok, you will always be first, but on my side, you're not going to be. And it's just one of those letdowns. And I just don't want anybody to feel like I'm never going to get it. We put limits in place and stuff when we get to some of those items. So it's the fun of our events. We do different types of things here for our events. On Saturday, we're going to have a charm event. And that's where these, like, I got the two here. We got, the star one here on this one. Here we have the bird. He's backwards there. Let's go there. These will be up for grabs, not these exact ones, but we'll have other charms up for grabs on Saturday. So we'll have a lot of different ones. We have some new ones, and we're going to be bringing back some. And when we bring back, we call it an encore. We have words that we came up with. And so we have a little bit of time. I can talk about that if that's okay with Zuli. We have come up with words. If it is the first time we've seen that item for claim, it is called a debut. If we're bringing it back because we didn't, it's not empty, then it's called an encore. If it was empty and I was able to bring it back, it is, oh, you know what I'm looking at Ashley's comment over here for Joya. If it's coming back and we have brought it back in because it was empty, it's called a repeat to the studio. Studio is what we're going to call what a spider makes. So over here, Ashley's saying she knows what Joya's favorite bead is. But she says, Mom's the word. So yeah, so that's some of the wording that we're going to use here. It's a little bit different than everybody else. I use the word value instead of the word cookie. I don't know why. Cookie just isn't a word for me. Yep, W to the third. So yeah, so we get creative over here. We're trying to come up with words that all come together to be able to explain things. So that's what we're going to be working on and getting everything out there. I will be creating a video here shortly to explain it all so that we can get that through to all of, because when we talk about it, people are probably like, what the heck is she talking about? Yep, then, because Geraldine's, her entire everybody, besides here on TikTok, calls her Cookie. So if we kept saying Cookie, she'd be like, what? So Lulu's her nickname. That is not her real first name. And Geraldine here has this one there, but everybody else calls her Cookie outside of here. And those are the two sisters. That's fine. We can remind you because guess what? My words are different than others, but I wanted to use something that hopefully doesn't get into those words that we are not allowed to use in the TikTok world by coming up with our uniqueness. Now we'll know if someone else uses their words where they got them from, because I seriously spent a time trying to figure those all out on Saturday morning. So this is all new, and I got to keep remembering the right words. All right. I want to say thank you to everybody. We do need to do our 10K giveaway. I don't know Pig Latin, though. That's the problem. And I also don't know, what is the other one that like we used when we were in school, and I never learned it. Let me grab a piece of paper. What we do for ours is that we play a game when we get 10 shares and 10,000 likes. And we've got that already. And so I pick out a color, and then everybody in the chat picks the color or puts their guesses in. So let me pick a color. All right. Go ahead and put colors in, everybody. Holy, the lid is stuck on this pop. I haven't opened it yet. This happened the other night too. Yes, yes. Everybody on the tube can do it too. All right, I'm going to give you guys a clue. It is a drink, not Dr. Pepper, I'll tell you that now, but it is a drink. And someone got it. All right, Nordic Luna was first and Sunrise Sky was second. The color was champagne. Here we go. We're going to exit out. So there we go. Congratulations, Nordic Luna. You have, this is what we do right now. We have 5 creative credits towards your list. Your list is your items that you claim, for those of you that are new, and why we use that word, because we can't say the I word. So congratulations. I'll get that on there and I will send it back out to you, okay? You know, 3 times in one day. So everybody, I was going to say everybody that had claims, you should have all of your lists sent to you. Those that were before the 2 o'clock live, we were doing a tutorial tonight, Sunrise Sky. So everybody, I did it before, if we were before the 2 o'clock live, everybody got them. And then those from the 2 o'clock live, I sent it again. So some of you got them twice today. Sorry. I just had time this afternoon to be able to do that. So what we have going on for the rest of this week, tomorrow at 2 p.m., we will have another tutorial. That tutorial is going to be about how to create barcodes. So I was asked multiple times in the last week about the barcodes. I put barcodes on my bags to help me with my business. And so with that, I will share how I got to where I went, all the different ones that I looked at, what my thought process was, so that you, oh, you're okay, so that you can make a decision that is what works for you and what you want to do. Because there's lots of different options. So we'll have that. And then Friday at 2 p.m., we are going to have a chat in the afternoon, 2 p.m. That's where you get to ask all kinds of questions that you have about jewelry making, your tips and tricks, all of that. You can go ahead and do that. And it is a time for us to share information. It is really our time as a community to talk. Last time we had a chat, I had gotten a new request of 5 boxes in, and we went through one of the boxes. I have yet to have time to go through all the boxes, and I need to. So we might, if I don't get them all done before Friday at 2, I will see about doing that another box so I can get through it. Joya says, good night, Ashley, in the other cyber world, LOL. Yep. And then Friday night, we will have a bead debut event. So that's where we're going to bring these to you guys. All right. So plus there will be other items. I will know more either tomorrow by 2 or Friday at 2 of all the items that we will have available. Saturday at 10 a.m. Oh, and Friday night is at 7. I always start early so that I don't get into TikTok after dark, because we all know what happens when we go to TikTok after dark when Carol was there the other night. Nah. It was a Saturday. It was like, whoa. Was it Saturday? No, it was Friday. It was Friday. Oh, Lord. And anyways, yes, Bop It came into place. And so we're going to do that at 7 on Friday. Saturday at 10 a.m., we will be doing the charm event. Thanks, Patty. I was like, if I would have been on camera, you guys would have seen how red I was. Good night, Ashley. Or she says, good night, Joya. There we go. Sorry, I didn't see the Joya part there. It was fun, but I was a little red when we got off. And I'm not trying to turn red now. And so we will do that. Now, all the times that I just talked about, they are all Central Time. That's when I will be live, is Central. Vicky was there. Vicky was there. Yeah. And it all started because of dryer sheets. Let me tell you, the whole conversation started about dryer sheets. That's all it took. So I hope you guys had fun tonight. Welcome in to everybody who is new. If you like what you saw here on TikTok, if you would please follow me, and then you will get, when I go live, hopefully. Ashley says flip it. And if you are on the tube, if you want to subscribe, I do put my schedule out there each Sunday for the next week. What we're doing each day changes out. I'm trying to keep times consistent, but so if you want to know what we're doing, go to the pinned video on TikTok, and it is a short on the tube, and there is the schedule. Yep, it went from dryer sheets to something going off the grid there. Oh my gosh, Patty, pull it. So yeah, so that's for anybody who's new. We do lots of fun things. This is a great community. As you can tell, we like to joke around, have fun. It's like getting your friends together and having a time. We don't all get on camera together, but we just sit here and talk and have fun. Ashley over here says, best night ever with Carol after dark. It was really funny. And I didn't mean to go there. I really didn't. So that is what we have for tonight. I'm glad you all could join me, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2 for the barcode tutorial. I'm excited about that one. And I know there's some other people that are. Yeah, no. It was, yeah, there we go. So, all right. Good night, everybody. Bye.